Hey, what up, Dodgers Nation? Doug McCain here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. We got the latest on the Trevor Bauer situation. Now it appears that his teammates do not want him back in that Dodgers clubhouse. We're going to dive into that in just a second. But a quick reminder, for our latest Dodgers news and rumors, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation question of the day. What is your reaction to the news that Trevor Bauer's teammates do not want him back in that Dodgers clubhouse? How big of a factor do you think it is in the Dodgers' decision whether or not to release or keep Trevor Bauer and reinstate him onto that 40-man roster? Let me know down below. And for our latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So I know that this is starting to feel like BauerNation.com, but I'm just trying to keep you guys informed on all the twists and turns and any new information in the Trevor Bauer situation. And the good news is we will get our answer this week. The Dodgers have up until January 6th to decide whether or not they're going to keep Trevor Bauer and reinstate him onto that 40-man roster or release Trevor Bauer. We are going to find out this week. So if you saw the interview I did with the LA Times' Bill Shakin, who's covered this story from wire to wire, he told us that yes, there is a chance that Trevor Bauer could be back with the Dodgers because of the simple fact that they have not released him just yet. And yes, that is technically true. If the Dodgers were ready to release him, they would have possibly done it immediately. But on the same token, they were surprised by the timing of the reinstatement. So they did want to give themselves time to make a decision. This is just par for the course for who the Dodgers are as an organization. You are not going to see rash decisions. They are going to consider every single angle. They're going to consider how they release this information. They're going to want to have statements prepared. They're going to want to have the PR ready to go. So to me, it's not a surprise. I don't think the fact that they still have him on the team really says that, hey, there's a really good chance that he could be back for the team. I think all signs are still pointing to the Dodgers releasing Trevor Bauer. And then over the weekend, MLB insider Jon Heyman, he reported that the Dodgers do not want him back in that clubhouse, that his teammates don't want to see him back in Dodger blue. Heyman writes, the Dodgers are expected to release Trevor Bauer after his ban was reduced by 130 games and he became eligible for the 2023 season. Word is, folks in their clubhouse would prefer he'd be elsewhere. More interesting is whether a small market team that otherwise wouldn't have a chance at this sort of talent might take a chance. So first takeaway from that is that this does sort of feel like another spin job by the Los Angeles Dodgers. We saw one a few weeks ago when Ken Rosenthal reported that the Dodgers weren't pursuing Carlos Correa because of the potential fan backlash and how a sizable portion of the Dodgers fan base still wasn't over what happened in 2017 and the fact that Carlos Correa was the most vocal Astro among that cheating scandal that rocked Major League Baseball. So the Dodgers, they get that story out and it kind of makes it feel like, oh, it's just about the fans. We're thinking about the fans. No, the Dodgers were thinking about the money and the potential risk of Carlos Correa and the years in the injury history. I think the Dodgers would have considered signing Carlos Correa on a short-term high AAV deal, but he's still trying to work things out with the New York Mets. But the point I'm trying to make is that that's not the end-all be-all, and I think that's the case here as well. I think the fact that his teammates don't want him back, I think it is a factor, but I don't think it's the main factor. I think the main factor is the Dodgers, they just don't want to deal with Trevor Bauer. They want to wipe their hands clean. They want to say, look, we're going to move on as an organization. We're going to eat the $22.5 million, but I don't think it's because Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman or Clayton Kershaw or Austin Barnes or Chris Taylor don't want him back in that clubhouse. And I think one question that a lot of Dodgers fans have is, how true is this story? How many of the Dodgers don't want him back? Are they in lockstep about just not wanting him back under any circumstances? Because that is what we heard back in 2021 when Mike DiGiovanna of the LA Times, he reported back then that none of his Dodgers teammates wanted him back under any circumstance. That was the quote from his article. So that's pretty consistent with that. So the Dodgers felt as an organization that this wouldn't impact their image, that they didn't have to deal with the big backlash, that it might not, slightly affect sponsorship or anything like that. I think they would consider bringing Bauer back, but I think they have firmly made a decision that, hey, probably it's the best for this organization to go their separate ways. I'm not saying I'm saying that. I'm saying that's probably what this organization is is saying at this moment. I think it's complicated. It's a very complicated, nuanced situation because on one hand, yes, Trevor Bauer can help this team. Yes, the Dodgers are going to basically be paying him over $22 million, maybe $21.8 million when he signs with another team, and for the league minimum at $720,000. But they're going to be paying for a guy to basically pitch for another team. That could be another team that competes against the Dodgers. Could be the Padres. Could be the Astros. Could be any team in Major League Baseball. And then you consider the fact that they made this big investment for him. And you saw before the 2021 season, they signed him to that record 3-year, $102 million deal. Well, they're going to end up paying him almost $65 million for 17 starts. That's almost $4 million per start. So that's a lot of money to pay a guy to not get production in return. And I think if you're the Dodgers and you're using this as a reason to not spend, if you're using this as a reason to not make trades, I think you're almost punishing the fans for a mistake that you made essentially and you brought onto yourself. I think if Stephen Cohen made this decision to sign Trevor Bauer and it didn't work out, I still think he'd be out there trying to sign some big name players. So I think this Dodgers organization, you have to really recognize that you still have a team that is ready to compete. A team that's championship window is not as wide as you really think it is, because let's be honest here, this could be Clayton Kershaw's last year. This could be Julio Urias's last year with the Dodgers. This could be one of the last years of Freddie Freeman's prime, and Mookie Betts isn't getting any younger. You have to take advantage of this core group of players to try to maximize their championship window. And I think if you just punt on this season because of the financial impact of Trevor Bauer, you're really doing a disservice to this fan base and this organization. That's just my opinion. But I also think this organization, they think years ahead of time. They think about the image that they like to present. You consider what happened in 2016. The Dodgers, they swung a trade at the winter meetings for Aroldis Chapman, but then when it came out that there were some domestic violence issues, he was ultimately suspended by the league. The Dodgers, they pulled out of that trade, and the Reds ultimately traded him to the Yankees, where he was eventually suspended. So we have seen a history with the Dodgers where they're very sensitive to any issues involving domestic violence. Now, if you remember back in 2019, Julio Urias was suspended for 20 games for violating the league's domestic violence policy, and he ultimately accepted responsibility. He released a statement where he accepted the league's punishment. He served his suspension, and the Dodgers brought him back. The Dodgers also released a statement that read, "While we are disappointed in what occurred and support the decision by the commissioner's office, we are also encouraged that Julio has taken responsibility for his actions and believe he will take the necessary steps to learn from this incident." So Trevor Bauer, he's vehemently denied any wrongdoing in this situation. So I don't anticipate anything like that. But maybe if there was some type of mutual thing with the Dodgers and Trevor Bauer, maybe that is something they could work out if they wanted to go that route. But that doesn't appear to be anything that's likely at this point. So me using recent history as my guide, that tells me that the Dodgers, they are going to go in a different direction when it comes to Trevor Bauer, because that really has been a non-starter. Any issues, whatever it may be, they're involving domestic violence. And the fact that, look, the reality is Trevor Bauer's 194 games they'll ultimately have served will still go down as the largest, most significant suspension in the 7 years the domestic violence and sexual assault policy has been around. So I think that's a tough pill for the Dodgers to swallow. And then you consider the fact that Major League Baseball conducted their own investigation. There were multiple accusers, and the Dodgers are not going to receive that information. With some of the confidentiality agreements that we talked about with Bill Shaken on Friday, the Dodgers aren't going to be privy to all the information in that situation. So it's going to be tough for the Dodgers really to move forward without knowing the past and what truly occurred. And I think it's important to note that Trevor Bauer has vehemently denied any wrongdoing. He continues to stand by that. And I think if you're Trevor Bauer, you're going to find a situation where another team is going to give you an opportunity. But it appears that right now, based on all the information that we've seen, it's not going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers. But let me know down below in the comments section, what is your reaction to the news that Trevor Bauer's teammates do not want to see him back in that Dodgers clubhouse, that they want to see him playing elsewhere? The Dodgers appear to want to move on from Trevor Bauer. What's your thoughts on the financial impact and this and that? I mean, I've heard people out there saying, hey, Doug, why don't they just keep him and not let him pitch for another team? Well, then he has to keep that roster spot. That's definitely valuable if you're the Dodgers. And I also think, too, this organization, one way or the other, they want to turn the page. But let me me know down below. I want to know your thoughts and reactions. What is your prediction on what the Dodgers will ultimately do in this situation? Let me know down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For our latest Dodgers news and rumors all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And as always, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.